Days under the sun, nights under the stars. Hello, I'm Davia Chambers, and while that could be a tagline for Tobago, it's actually the slogan for Miller's Guest House. This is Let's Talk Tobago. We're reporting the news this week from number 14 Miller Street in the heart of bustling Buku Village. Have a look at what's coming up. Lottery homes are given out in Corland and Bell Garden. Thousands of tourists arrive on the Carnival Liberty cruise liner and an international tournament of soccer on the beach. These stories and more when Let's Talk Tobago continues.
Hey, why don't you step into the Scarborough Library facility? It has all the knowledge of our land, people and heritage that you just won't find online. The Scarborough Library facility is now open. Tobago Library Services. Information inspires innovation.
Our first news story may also seem like a gamble, but a modernized system has provided a winning ticket for some and moved other patient hopefuls up the list for housing.
Okay, there we go. First draw.
The computerized lottery system. That's what was used to select a total of 91 applicants for serviced lots at Corland Phase 1 and Bell Garden Phase 2 housing developments. The lottery system allows the Tobago House of Assembly to fulfill its mandate of providing affordable housing for applicants in a clear and unbiased manner.
It has been the policy of the THA as well as National Housing in Trinidad to use the electronic system. We have to change with the times, right? So we're using the electronic system to ensure that we have a fair and accountable representation of the draw, so that, people wouldn't feel that they were handpicked in any way. It was run randomly. So anybody has a chance.
The Executive Council of the Tobago House of Assembly mandates that 50% of all housing must be allocated through the lottery system, 20% for those in the system for over 8 years, 15% goes to those in surrounding areas, 5% to the protective services, another 5% to young homeowners, and the remaining 5% to physically challenged and senior citizens. Today's draw throws Tobagonians for lots in which the THA subsidized the cost of setting up of proper roads, drainage and underground utility lines for water, sewer, electricity and telephone services. But that's just one way of allocation. The Division of Settlements and Labour also uses the electronic lottery system for those who prefer a house already built, such as these family homes at Blenheim or these townhouses at Adventure Phase 2.
You have to go through financing. So you may go through TTMF or your bankers, right? Sometimes some people are not qualified in the next step because they don't have the finances to actually build a home. And that is why we also have the other option of drawing for houses. But land was the option for this time.
There are over 7,000 Tobagonians on the division's waiting list. But up until now, the THA has been starved of funding for its housing program. The 2015-2016 budget is expected to make provisions that will ease this burden, even as the Assembly pursues public-private partnerships. I'm Omdara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
You're watching Let's Talk Tobago. We often showcase prime spots, and Miller's Guest House is a prime area for many great experiences, from the Sunday School Street Party to horseback riding around the corner on Gala Street. Okay, let's do the math. One cruise liner means a few thousand people. Times that by many more ships coming during the season, and we get thousands of visitors enjoying Tobago and stimulating the economy.
For the first time, Carnival Liberty cruise liner docked at the Scarborough port, bringing 3,500 passengers, mostly from North America. Many of them experienced the island through organized tours to popular sites and attractions, while others opted to make their own way around the island using taxis and maxis.
We just came from Pigeon Point Beach. This is my girl over here. We had a great time. I think the best thing that I really enjoyed was the shark sandwich. They had a shark sandwich that was off the chain. It was delicious, and yes, I will be back here.
Well, we did what we call like a city tour, and then we went to Storby, where we were able to get some local cuisine. Some tried curry chicken and goat. Some tried lambi. Some also tried, provision, all of that. So we sat down and we had it. And then they even did some shopping.
We went to the Pigeon Point. We tried your food, goat curry with some roti. Whoa.
It was wonderful.
And trust me, I'll come here again. Wonderful people. Your reception was so wonderful, and I really love you all. Thank you for having us.
To ensure a greater show experience for passengers, the maxi and taxi operators were readily available to take the visitors to the various locations and back to the ship.
We were able to provide quite a number of buses, which was very significant. And we had a wonderful day. There was nothing to complain about.
We didn't have much of a problem with the traffic because on my way back from the beach, we had a free line to come to drop off the tourists, which was so good.
The boost of cruise passengers will provide vendors, maxi, taxi, and tour operators with a greater opportunity for increased revenues.
Well, I think it's a good starting for the season, you know. Once you start good, we hope to finish good. So it set the platter for the entire season, right? And people were good. The drivers came out properly attired and so on. So we are looking for a bumper season.
The arrival of Carnival Liberty cruise liner signals the start of the 2015-2016 cruise season. The season is expected to run to May 3rd with an estimated 50 ship calling. From the Division of Tourism and Transportation, I'm Juliet James for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's often nice to not have to think about where to get breakfast when you wake up on your vacation. And with the soon-to-be upgrades at Miller's Guest House, you won't have to think about it. Speaking of upgrades, a plan is in place to further develop Tobago. It considers you and all of us in the plan. Are you signing on? Let's hear from Omadara Mills.
Ways of improving the tourism sector, better methods for managing the island's waste disposal system, youth development and curriculum reform for the education system. These are just a few of the issues raised by residents of Tobago at two public meetings held by the Secretariat responsible for implementing the plans of the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan 2.0 or CEDP 2.0. It's the handbook being used by the THA to improve Tobago for the 2013 to 2017 period.
I'm wondering if at this point we should be getting sort of a midterm report rather than a presentation of the document to the public. That's the first comment. And what are some of the milestones that would have been achieved so that we could have an idea of where the plan is going and whether the plan is still achievable?
In terms of the implementation of the CDP, for the past 2 or 3 years, each division of the Assembly has been, in fact, fashioning their capital budget on the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan, so that a lot of what you see happening in the field now by way of infrastructure development would be predicated on the CDP.
The challenges faced by small businesses who are unable to borrow from the banks so that they can expand is another major issue, one that the CDP 2.0 Secretariat is looking into.
The Tobago House of Assembly recognizes is the fact that we need a Tobago development financing facility. Now, we are calling it a Tobago Development Bank. It might well be a bank, it might well be a facility, it might well be partnering with some of the existing commercial banks to have a window for development assistance such as yours.
Clean, green, safe and serene is the mantra which the CDP 2.0 carries for Tobago. So crime and the police response to unlawful incidents are also on Tobagonians' minds.
We have identified 4 strategic goals in making the community safer. One is to reduce crime and increase our detection rate, make our roadways safer and other public places, be more people-centered, and strengthen our organization.
Besides the meetings, the public can contact the liaison officers at the CDP 2.0 Secretariat to give recommendations and ask questions about the development plans as the Assembly seeks to develop the island in sustainable ways. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Coming up on our program, students who advocate for students. We'll be right back.
The Tobago House of Assembly has a plan, the Comprehensive Economic Development Plan, CEDP, and it is for all of us. Are you ready to benefit from higher levels of development in Tobago and a higher standard of living?
We ready!
The priority areas are branding Tobago, clean, green, safe and serene, business development and entrepreneurship.
Are you ready?
Human capital development.
I'm ready.
Social development and resilience.
I'm ready.
Improved infrastructure and utilities. Enhanced safety and security.
I'm ready.
Environmental sustainability. Tourism.
Are you ready?
Marine resources and forestry.
Are you ready?
Good governance and institutional reform.
The CEDP is ready. Join us and get on board.
Let's travel the island, straight back to my land, even to Thailand.
Welcome back. I'm at one of the bungalows at Miller's Guest House to tell you that students learn to have their say. That's our next story. They speak up for and in the best interests of their peers through a newly formed governing body.
The introduction of technology in the classroom is just one of the ideas students want implemented in their schools. And one way they can make it happen is through advocacy through their student council. This is a group which gives them the opportunity to express themselves and to make recommendations for improvements to their learning space.
We establish a student council to help other people because we may understand them better than how the teachers may understand them. So that is what student council is for us, to help our peers and have a voice to stand out in the school, to show that we too can have a voice and not only the teachers can make decisions all the time, because we at a point of time have to make decisions. So we are starting from now.
Although student councils existed in some schools, the official launch of the Student Council program in all 9 secondary schools was done by the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport as a way of strengthening the students' voice.
Sometimes everything is top down and all instructions come from the head or come from the division. We want the students to be part of the decision-making processes in the school. So they must talk out and they must organize events for themselves. We have bright children out there, contrary to what is being said now especially. But we have students there who are capable of making decisions and responsible decisions at that.
But what about the students this program is designed to help? How do they feel about it?
My expectation from the Students' Council is to build leadership not only in the school but in the community, and by engaging my peers in sporting activities as well as group projects to make the community a better place.
The division hopes to eventually launch a similar program in primary schools. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Your view of the beach and a village of activities just got better from this open and private area at Miller's Guest House. Now, practically everyone uses a computer or some sort of electronic device in this information age we live in. And in Tobago, that includes seniors. Here's Caroline Wallace with Seniors Online.
Graduates of the second cycle of the Scarborough Library Facilities Computer Literacy Program, all happy now that they know how to use YouTube, Skype, Facebook, and the internet in general to find information. One of the 75 participants from this batch who enjoyed the program is Glenda Charles. She says that the 12 tutors were the ones who made learning the material easier than they initially thought.
It was a fun learning experience. Hats off to the organizers for such a brilliant initiative. Thanks to the tutors, they used the student-centered approach to facilitate our learning ability. They demonstrated the contents step by step, asked questions, and listened to feedback.
During the 7-week course, the young at heart were also trained in the use of Microsoft Word and email messaging, which was complemented by lessons about the different parts of a computer. The administrator for the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport, Diane Baker Henry, applauded the participants for embracing technology.
Your exposure to these computer applications are testament of your personal decision to ensure that your minds do not get exhausted, but rather continue to develop as you enjoy the best stage of your life. This is the best stage of your life.
The head librarian, Helen Johnson, says the computer classes were started at the requests of Tobago's senior citizens. But in addition to the library's mandate of making learning an all-inclusive one, the class has other goals.
Our overall aims and objectives included bridging the digital divide between senior citizens and youths, creating a computer-literate elderly population, improving the ability of senior citizens to understand the activities in which their children and grandchildren are engaged, and to be able to converse with them on topics related to technology.
The next cycle of the computer literacy program is scheduled to begin January, and there are at least a handful of seniors already signed up for that one. I'm Caroline Wallace for Let's Talk Tobago.
Do you want to know what's delicious about this fishing village? Right here, El Pescador. It means the fisherman in Spanish, and it's a seafood restaurant on the terrace of Miller's Guest House. Next, we profile a champion in women's health and a leader in the medical community. Take a look at this.
A major part of the reason women in Tobago now have access to ultrasound services at the Scarborough General Hospital. Dr. Victor Wheeler was persistent and never gave up, and for his efforts and for the contributions he's made to the field of obstetrics and gynecology, he's among a batch of doctors around the world who've been elevated to the position of Fellowship of the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. It's a mark of seniority and recognition of the willingness of doctors to constantly grow in their field.
As far as I'm aware, I'm the first Tobagonian who has actually been bestowed this elevation, and I feel quite proud to know that there are others that can be elevated it requires hard work, it requires diligence.
In addition to the ultrasound facilities, Dr. Wheeler also introduced other modern technologies to the department, such as colposcopy for examining the cervix, minimally invasive methods of doing cesarean sections, and laparoscopy or keyhole surgery.
When you introduce these instruments, it magnifies it sometimes 5 or even 10 times. That makes it a lot easier. Also, operating this way, you can see the blood vessels easier, so it is less traumatic, it's less bleeding, the recovery is much quicker, shorter, it's also less painful. Many women have these type of procedures and go home the same day, whereas with a traditional cut on the tummy, they have to stay in hospital sometimes for up to a week in recovery.
The fellowship takes into consideration academic contributions, a field Dr. Wheeler excelled in as well. He's published articles in medical journals, and for the past 10 years, he's been an examiner with the University of the West Indies for final year medical students. Dr. Wheeler also tutors medical interns at the department.
Tobago has a lot more, compared to 1996, Tobago has a lot more doctors on the whole, a lot more specialists, a lot more junior doctors. What we need to make the next leap is to actually provide training here. All the infrastructure is available for that. It just takes the will of the TRHA to move ahead with seeking recognition for this training to expand.
As an active member of the Medical Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Wheeler believes that the TRHA can be accredited as a teaching hospital in time to come and help produce medical practitioners who can achieve his level of growth and success. I'm Umadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We've got the talk on female soccer players. Next, when Let's Talk Tobago returns, we'll be right back.
Going to Barbados? Why continue to pay high prices when you can get there for only US $231.95, all taxes included? Yes, you heard right. You can now travel to Barbados from Tobago for a mere US $231.95 on Gold's weekly service. So if you're going to Barbados for business, the beach, crop over, or attending university, stop wasting your money on those other high-priced airlines and get there for a fraction of the cost. To book, just log on to www.vogel.com.br. Barbados just got closer.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. For all the foodies watching, Buku is a delight. As I mentioned in the last segment, you can get fine dining right here at the guest house or venture out for fine Italian, international or Creole for that discriminating palate. For another year in a row, Tobago gears up for an international competition of soccer on the beach. We check in with Keyshawn Wilson, who has the story.
It's no longer Tobago Sports Beach Soccer Championships. It's now known as the Tobago Beach Soccer Championships. But what remains the same is the quality of the event held at Black Rock Heritage Park. So 2015's edition of the tournament, from November 13th to 15th, will be an action-packed weekend of sand, sun, and soccer.
Every year we always try to have a feature and something that would definitely whet the appetite of the players, fans, and everyone who wishes to participate. This year our headline act is Barcelona Beach Soccer Team. They are a professional team out of Spain, as we all know, and the Barcelona brand is quite popular worldwide. So they and the Barcelona team encompass the best players, or some of the best players in the world.
Also competing in this year's tournament are teams from Colombia, Venezuela, Switzerland, 2 Tobago-based teams, and 2 teams from Trinidad. It's expected that this year's tournament will be a tight one, with impressive local sides.
Definitely local teams are doing a lot better. Over the years, we've encouraged their participation. We've noticed that they have had a very high interest in it, and now the national beach soccer team that was formed as a result of the tournament and of Tobago Sports having this event here, the national team comprises of half Tobagonians.
And there's a new aspect to this year's championship.
We're bringing the female version of the game this year. So this year, visiting from Colombia, we have a female team. We also have Botafogo out of Brazil, 1 Trinidadian female team and 1 Tobagonian. So patrons and players, male, who've always come now can see the female version of the game.
The Tobago Beach Soccer Championships will also host a children's camp to teach children the techniques of beach soccer. I'm Keyshawn Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
Here's a tip. One of the quickest ways to the jetty to catch your tour boat to Buku Reef is through the gate right over there. We have the latest news on the Chief Secretary's Charity Golf Tournament. It's a sport competition that helps others, from deserving groups to young golfers.
This is a leisurely sport that more people are enjoying on the island, and one way they do that is through the annual Chief Secretary's Charity Golf Tournament. But it takes a lot of organizing and money to go smoothly, so the organizers will be relieved to have collected a check from the Chief Secretary, a reimbursement for this year's golf tournament. It's one of the contributions that's allowed the event to become a success over the decade.
Well, every year the tournament develops in terms of being one of the calendar events of the year within the golf fraternity. Tobago's Chief Secretary's tournament is considered one of the highest and best organized, and in terms of prize and activity, it's very well received. We have our challenges like any other tournament, but going forward, I think the tournament is definitely going to be successful in 2016.
Now, as the name of the tournament implies, there's some level of giving back involved, As such, Mr. Rostand says that some of the money coming out of the tournament will go to an individual or organization that's in need of some financial assistance.
Every year we've been able to help someone in need. You know, we've done work with the aged, we've done work with physical disability, we've done work with the Nawe Foundation in Buku. So it's not cast in concrete where we look to, you know, to put the help. So we try to keep it open-ended and help those that we feel will get maximum benefit out of the money that's donated.
And there are other ways in which the tournament contributes to the island's development.
One for sport tourism is one of the main benefits. It's in keeping with the THA's mandate to increase tourism, especially sport tourism. It also increases the development of the sport, because part of the tournament is a youth section to it. So it's to help to develop the youth golfers in Tobago, which basically are all local Tobagonian players.
It's hoped that by the end of the year, the organizers and the Chief Secretary will make a donation to the institution they think is most deserving of the earnings coming out of this year's golf tournament. I'm Umdara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Feel safe at home here at Miller's Guest House. They're here to serve you, and their security cameras are here to protect. How many of you have started your countdown to Christmas? Yes, it's that time. And if this is one of your first Christmases when you have to make a lot of stuff but you're not sure how, this story tells you about a fun class that will upgrade your culinary skills.
Puncha creme, ham, turkey, oh, the black cake. All the foods synonymous with Christmas time in Trinidad and Tobago. But can you actually make any of these? If not, this opportunity is for you.
THI will be hosting a traditional Christmas delight training on the 26th, 30th of November and the 1st of December for 3 days. The training begins at 5 in the evening until 10 p.m. The reason why we are hosting this type of training is because it's Christmas time, and you know it's the festive season, and most persons like to have their treats at home.
The training will be done by in-house chefs and runs for 3 evenings. It'll only cost each participant $1,000.
We found that a lot of persons, they like the black cake, they like the puncha creme, they like the pastels, and they don't really know the know-how, the proper training and skills to have it done.
And while you, the participant, will leave with new skills, there are also additional benefits for signing up for this course.
Persons who attend the training will get a certificate of participation, a takeaway treat, they're going to get a bottle of punch creme and a cake, a 10-inch cake.
The downside? Only 12 people can register, so here's your chance to get a head start. I'm Keishon Wilson for Let's Talk Tobago.
It's time now for Have Your Say, the segment of our program where we ask and you tell it like it is. Did you hear that December 4th shall be designated as Tobago Day? How do you feel about that? Feel free to post your comment on our social media, and let's see what a few of our viewers had to say.
I think Tobago Day is a good idea.
It's a celebration for Tobagonians, so let's go ahead with it.
If it was Assembly Day, you know what the Assembly have achieved, but what have Tobago basically achieved for it to have a Tobago Day?
We have a higher rate of employment than unemployment. It's something to really celebrate, right?
I go appreciate that a great lot.
It's just something good, yeah. December 4th.
I feel it's something very wonderful that all Tobagonians could partake in.
That's it for this edition of Let's Talk Tobago. Please email your comments or queries on anything you've seen in this program and visit our website at www.tha.gov.tt. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we travel the island to bring you the best of what's happening. I'm Davia Chambers on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information. Have a safe and productive week.